Hey everyone, my name is Brooke Miles, and welcome to our live stream of LinkedIn profile audits. So I want to first of all remind you guys, if you haven't seen my channel before, I am a huge proponent of LinkedIn profiles. If you want to be successful on LinkedIn, whether you are looking for a job or you're networking because you're trying to grow your business, everything starts with your profile, okay? All of it. So that's why we're going to spend a lot of attention on that today. And I also want to thank our brave volunteers. We have 5 people who volunteered to have their profiles audited today, and we're going to do it a little differently than we did the last time, and I'll explain that when we get there. I also want to say, for those of you watching today, this is Valentine's Day. I did not choose to do the live stream on Valentine's Day because I'm a romantic. I did it because I was free this morning. So that's why. But we are going to give a lot of tough love today. And also, I did decide to make a little bit of a Valentine's theme out of it for those of you who appreciate Valentine's Day. And I asked ChatGPT to come up with some Valentine's Day / LinkedIn jokes. And in true ChatGPT form, they're pretty bad. So I chose the least of the bad, and we're going to kind of look through them. We have jokes, one-liners, and pickup lines. And then in the end, we'll vote for the best. And we're going to kind of do that in between audits just to mix things up. And then finally, I really encourage you to comment, to participate, to ask questions, whatever you want, because I want to make this as interactive as possible. If you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm just looking to see who is commenting. And Joanne says, hello everyone, happy to be here, happy Valentine's Day. So thank you, Joanne. And all right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go ahead and get started. All right, just a second here. Okay. And let's see. And by the way, the last live stream I did, there was like 10 minutes where I thought I was sharing my live screen. I thought I was sharing my screen, but I wasn't. So I'm like pointing out things that no one can see, and then I couldn't even see the comments. So people are like, can't see the screen. So, but this time I have the comments over there so I can see them. Okay. So in general, what we're going to be doing with these audits, which is different from last time, is I'm actually going to be taking sections of people's profiles and auditing them rather than do one whole profile, then another whole profile, then another one. Because what I found the last time is that there's about an 80% overlap in the advice I was giving between profiles. And I like packing as much information as possible in a shorter period of time. So I think we're going to get just as much value if I take sections of people's profiles rather than bore you to tears with the same information or similar information over and over. That said, I do want to start with Savannah's profile, and I just want to give an overall impression of Savannah's because that's what kind of stuck to me the most. And Bob Batchelor says, a roast for Valentine's Day, fun. Yes. Yeah, I mean, I have a date with my husband this evening, so that's good. And he's the romantic in the family, and I'm just like if I buy a card before Valentine's Day, before the actual day, then like I'm actually ahead of the game. So there's a bit of a difference here, but okay. Let's see what we have here. So for Savannah, okay, so let me start off with the positive here. And that is, you just get this positive vibe when you see her. You kind of get that she is a super cool, nice person who just has a lot of positive energy, that sort of thing, okay? The profile photo is good. The banner, it does talk about empowering. Her headline talks about empowering others, and you can kind of see that image and that idea through the banner. So that is all fine. I also have my notes here, so if you also see me looking through here, and in total Gen X style, I printed everything out. Let's see. And Monkey D says, hi, happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to you too. All right. So, but here was the issue that I had with Savannah's, and this is where the tough love comes in. It was actually hard for me to tell what she's all about, because I will tell you my first impression. Now, she and I did meet through LinkedIn, I think a couple months ago or so. But you meet a lot of people, and then I kind of had to refresh my memory when I was getting back to her profile because she wanted to have her profile audited. And so I was trying to remind myself, and I thought, okay, so she's an instructional assistant, and she helps people, she empowers people through teaching. But then I was kind of going through her profile, and I was getting more and more confused. So, and I'm going to show you why I was confused. But the big picture message I have for you is, can people tell at a glance the value you bring to the table and whom you serve? Okay, because if it's not evident, that's a problem. So at first, again, I thought, okay, maybe she's an instruction, or she must be an instruction. But I started getting a little confused where I started reading her about section, and I'm not going to click on see more yet. We're going to get there. We're going to get there later. But, she talks about her self-development, and she's looking for continuous growth. And, she believes in the transformative power of intentional development, and she wants to inspire others towards unleashing their full potential. And I guess that has to do with instruction. It also sounds like what like a life coach might say also. So I was confused by that. I thought, okay, well, and then her experience section doesn't say much more. Then I see that she is still a student. She's pursuing a bachelor's degree in psychology. I can kind of see how that goes through, but you could see how, and when then cross-team collaboration was the first skill, and then instruction. So I needed help. So what I did was I went back to her about section, and I clicked on see more, and check this out. This is huge. Now, I like the fact that there are some emojis to kind of break up the text, but this is a huge amount. There are some paragraphs that don't have spaces in between. It's very dense with content, and I think I got most of what I needed kind of in the middle here, where she's interested in mental health advocacy, and she wants to promote awareness and destigmatizing of mental health issues. So I'm assuming that's eventually what she's going for. But I had to click on see more in the about section and read through all of it and see it in the middle. We don't want people to have to search for that, because what people will do is when people are on social media, okay, wait, actually, let me backtrack a second. What a lot of people complain about is they say, oh, everyone has like a short attention span. That isn't exactly true, but people have a short attention span with social media. Okay, if you go on Netflix, you're not going to just like watch something for 30 seconds and then move on to the next thing. You're going to devote yourself to 2 hours to something. So, but when people are on social media, and more than half of people look at social media on their phones, they're more in a scroll mindset. So they want information as quickly as possible. So Savannah, if you're watching this right now, what you don't want to do is make people work for the information. So I'm going to give you some ideas here. But it depends on what your goal is, okay? If your goal is to actually, even though you're getting the psychology degree, but you actually want to pursue instruction. And the reason I say that is because you have your first word in your headline here is innovative, okay? So if your goal is to really pursue this type of career, then talk more about the value you bring to the table, and even how your studies are, support you in this and help you be an even better instructional assistant, and then whatever the next levels are for that. Okay, so you could do it that way. The other one is if you're like, well, this is really good for me right now with where I am, but in the end, I want to be a therapist or a counselor or something of that nature. I want to move forward in that direction. Especially with the mental health awareness piece of it. You can rephrase it such that you actually start with mental health advocate, so in your headline, and frame it around that. Okay, but you can still put in the fact that you're an instructional assistant and how your work is supporting you, or how your work is making you even better at what you're looking to do. But again, the long story short is, think of who is your target audience and what do you want to tell them? Because I was getting mixed messages. But again, but keep the positive vibe, because you have a really good vibe going on here. And I will tell you, and I do this with clients all the time, like if there's something they're doing well, I'm going to tell them that because I want, because first of all, I don't want people feeling miserable at the end of a session with me. But secondly, it's, if there's something going well, we don't want to fix that. So hopefully that helps. Okay. All right. And let's see. Now we're going to, but before we get to the jokes, I actually want to go to the next person. And yes, and Bob Batchelor says, you're correct. People do, actually, so funny, there's like do not read, keep it short. Yes. If you saw how my comments are showing up, it says, on mine it says, you're correct, people do, and then there's like this heart emoji button to press, read. So I had to kind of figure that out. Okay, let's see. Now we're going to actually look at people's profiles bit by bit, and we're going to start with the top of a profile. And for that example of a top of a profile, we're going to look at Leslie's right here. Okay, and so so she is a family physician, and she offers concierge service or concierge medicine. I do want to let you know, and Leslie did not tell me to say this at all, but I am a huge fan of concierge medicine. I just hated going to the doctor till I had the opportunity to actually have one of those types of physicians. And I feel like I can be a whole lot more proactive, and I'm actually healthier because of it, because they're just more thorough. So anyway, just a little plug there. I don't want to make this a whole session about my experiences with the doctor, but I'm doing better now, I think, because I have someone who's more attentive, and I don't have to wait 2 weeks, trying to schedule an appointment with someone who's mean at the front office. So you don't have that. I don't have to deal with that anymore. Okay. So her banner, let's talk about the banner. It's off to a good start, okay, because it does have the stethoscope. When we see a stethoscope, we think of medicine. That's good. Here's the problem. There are two problems I have with this, however, okay. Right here, there's really small text. And I want to let you know, I looked at this also on my phone, and it was so tiny, I could barely read it. And I could kind of see it here, but I'm like literally going blind. So, but it says, when I work for you, not your insurance company, you win. So I will tell you, if I had not seen the headline over here, I would have just looked at the insurance company part and I would think, and actually this thought actually went through my mind just briefly. I'm like, wait a minute, is she an insurance company advocate, like a consumer advocate for insurance companies? Like when you just like can't get approval for a medication, or like I don't know. So, and then I reminded myself of her headline that she's a private doctor. So that part was confusing, but the other part was the fact that the words were so small. So, and I will tell you that I have advised in the past to, what was I going to say? I have advised in the past to not put any words in the banner. And I've been thinking about it a lot more and looking at other stuff that's out there. And it's okay to put something in the banner as long as it's brief, because really imagery, this is your chance to show a lot of imagery, and you don't get as much chance so much in the rest of your profile, and a picture says 1,000 words. But it is helpful to have a few words in there. It can be helpful to have a few words in there if you can, but make sure they're readable. So, you might have something here, Leslie, that says something like, concierge, concierge medicine, prioritizing, or preventative self-care, that type of thing. I wouldn't make it more than maybe 5 or 6 words. Just make it super, super simple. Okay, so we talked about the banner. The profile picture is spot on. Okay, there's literally nothing I would change about it. So, but what I want to tell you about, actually, I actually wrote a list of why I think this is a fantastic, actually not why I think it is, why it is a great banner photo. I can't talk. The best time to be able to talk is when you're doing a live stream. That is from a lot of research I've done. So I'm having troubles today. Okay, so here's why it's a good photo. So we can emulate this. Okay, so first of all, it's professional, and it's also crisp. Like a lot of times I see photos and there's a little bit of blur to it. We don't want that. It's also a close-up of her face, and when you have a profile photo, it should be, I would say from the, I don't know if you guys can see it, but like kind of like from the upper chest up. It could also be from the shoulders up, but the more your face takes up that circle, the better. And Leslie has done that. She is smiling. I know that seems like an obvious thing, but a lot of people don't smile. And I have run into a couple of people who are very self-conscious about their smile, and that's an exception. But and I have very imperfect teeth, but that's what Photoshop is for. At least with your profile photo. I can't get away with it with video. You see my teeth as they are. She's looking at the camera to build trust, okay? Again, not everyone looks at the camera. I know that there is this style that, and I even see some people on LinkedIn with very large followings do this, where they're kind of looking to the side. They're not looking at the camera. It's stylish, but it doesn't establish as much trust. It's better to look at the camera. I'd rather give up a little bit of that style and edge to establish trust. That's my opinion, at least. But looking at the camera does establish trust, so I do recommend that. And then also, actually, that's it. There is literally nothing I would change. So that is why it's a good photo. Okay, if there's anything you need to change about yours or update yours. Oh, and also about updates, my profile photo is 13 years old, and I keep on asking people once in a while, I was like, does that still kind of look like me? And they're like, oh yeah, it does. I don't know if they're being nice, but I really do need to change mine. So do keep your profile photo current as best as you can. Okay, the headline down here. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions, ask. Okay, or extra comments, anything like that. I already appreciate the fact that Bob and Joanne and Monkey have already shared things. That is really, really good. So just feel free to join in here. Okay, so let's talk about the headline. And I need a drink of water. The headline is almost perfect. Okay, I do like the fact that she has maximized the space. You have 220 well, there's an exception to this. In general, you have 220 characters to fill in your headline, although I believe it's still the case that if you fill in your headline on an iPhone, you have 240 characters. I haven't tried it because I type so slowly on an iPhone, I'd rather give up 20 characters and not deal with that. So, but I think that's still the case. But 220 for everyone at the very least. So she has maximized it. I also like the fact that she says what she does. She's a private doctor, and she also talks about why, why her. She prioritizes preventative self-care to optimize someone's health. So that part is really good. Here are some tweaks I would recommend. First of all, I don't see, and Leslie would be able to answer this. Leslie, if you're here, feel free. I know there are a few people who are getting the audits that, I said, okay, this is the time we're doing it. And they're like, I can't make it then. So they'll probably be watching the recording afterwards. But the question I would have for Leslie is private doctor the main term that people would look for if people were Googling her? For me, I think of concierge. I think of concierge doctor, concierge medicine. I don't necessarily think of private doctor, but that could just be me. If it turns out private doctor is the most popular term, keep it here. But you always want to use your potential customers, your potential patients, language, because that's how they're thinking of you. I have seen business owners try to force their own language on people, and it doesn't work. It's like, here's what I am, and let me explain that, versus here, let me explain how I am the way you would understand it. Okay, so anyway, but keep private doctor if that makes sense. Otherwise, do something like concierge doctor, that type of thing, and then you could, if that's the case, you can get rid of concierge medicine here because it would be obvious. Believe it or not, I actually got a little confused with in your back pocket, at least for a few seconds. I don't think you need to say that because you already say, that works around your busy schedule. Okay. So if you say the private doctor or concierge doctor who works around your busy schedule, and then little grammatical thing, it should be who. You use who when you're referring to a person, and you use that when referring to a thing. And Leslie is clearly a person. So a little grammatical thing there. Let's see. And then also and I see this on a lot of people's profiles, and sometimes I have to catch myself on this too, be super careful of capitalization, okay? So, right here you have, you start with a capital letter, but then everything else is lowercase, okay, on the top 2 lines. On the bottom 2 lines, every word starts with a capital letter. I mean, so this is different with the certified because there's a dash. So you want to be consistent with that. And even if someone doesn't consciously notice it, a lot of things get picked up in the subconscious. And Savannah, who's studying psychology, would hopefully be able to, whose profile we just looked at, hopefully she'd be able to back me up on this. But a lot of things are picked up on, in the subconscious. And what you don't want people is to have some kind of weird feeling like, this isn't quite right. So I know it's impossible for anyone to be perfect. And believe me, I catch typos on myself all the time. I have to actually triple check my emails now. I used to have to just double check. Now I have to triple check because I guess my brain's just getting too old or something to get it right the first 2 times. But when it comes to your LinkedIn profile or anything where that's like a marketing piece, it's really worthwhile to get it right the first time. And okay, and Leslie here says, "Oh, I'm here." Okay, cool. So, and concierge, true concierge would be the term. Okay, excellent. And okay, let's see. And the stupendous Chumley says, "Question: for a service-oriented small business, should featured section primarily contain low to high offers?" That's a good. Actually, do me a favor, stupendous Chumley. Would you be able to explain that question a little bit more, because we're going to be getting to the featured section a little later, although I'm happy to talk a little bit about it now. But if you can explain what you mean by contain primarily low to high offers. Are you talking about here are the services I provide and maybe some of the easier ones to sell and then also some of the pricier ones, like that type of thing? So if you can explain that, that would be great. And I can answer that closer to when we're at the featured section anyway. So thank you for that question. I like that a lot. Okay. Now, the last thing with the top of the profile that I want to mention about Leslie profile, but I don't want to open it, and I'll explain why, is the contact information section. But I'll open up mine instead. The reason I don't want to click on the contact information section for her is that I'm a first degree connection, so I can see contact information about her that people who are not connected to her can't see. And I don't know if there's anything in the contact information she would not want people to see. But the thing that I noticed in her contact information that I saw on at least one other person's profile that we're auditing today is that they have their personal email address when I believe there's a business email address they would probably have. So what typically happens is that, and actually let me just show you on mine here. I did, and I don't care who sees my contact info because I want people to contact me. Okay. So what you want to be super careful of is in the email section. I want you guys to check it out and make sure, if you haven't already, that your work email address, if you have a work email address to send to, is here. Okay. And if you have your personal email address that you use to log in, you can go ahead and change it. Okay. You would actually, and this part I can't show because you're going to see some backup email addresses I have. But if you click on the pencil mark here, you follow the instructions, and what you're essentially going to do is you're going to change your primary email address from your personal email address to your business email address. That does not change your login. All it does is change the email address that people see in your contact section once they are a first degree connection with you. So again, it does not change your login whatsoever, but you don't want your personal email address out there if you have a professional one that you want to show. So I did notice that with Leslie's, but I want to respect her privacy and not click on contact information. So, okay, so hopefully that helps. And we're going to do the first 3 jokes from ChatGPT soon. And let's see. Yeah, actually, we're going to do that right now. Let me actually go ahead and... Okay, so I should have done this in a nice slideshow, but so we're going to look at 3 jokes, and these are all from ChatGPT. Okay, so I did not write these. These are really bad. And then we're going to look at 3 jokes, and we're going to decide which one is the least bad, and that will be in the finals for the least bad of all ChatGPT. Okay, so the first one is joke number 1. And I would like your comments. Please share in the chat. Let's do that this way. On a scale from 1 to 10, 1 being the worst and 10 being the highest, how would you rate this joke? How about that? Okay, you could just put a number. So 1 being the worst, 10 being the highest. How do you rate this joke? What did the LinkedIn user say to his date? I hope our connection turns into a lifelong endorsement. So any numbers? Okay, so Monkey says LMAO. Would that be a 10, Monkey, or is that less? Like, so I need numbers here because I'm a very quantitative gal. Okay, Bob gives it an 8. You guys are very generous. Okay. And tell you what, okay, so Monkey and Leslie give it a 7. Okay, so while there's a coming in, okay. And Joanne gives it 8. Okay, here's joke number 2. We only have 3 to choose from this time. Okay. Why did the guy bring a LinkedIn analytics report to his girlfriend on Valentine's Day? Because he wanted to show her the impressive ROI of their affection. Did I say infection? I meant affection. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's a... Oh, I just realized. Okay, so that's a 6. I have to actually write down these. Okay, so now give me numbers for this joke number 2. Bob gives a 3. Okay, so the first one was about a 7.5. I'll wait a few more seconds for this joke number 2. 3. Okay, so this one's a loser apparently. Okay, no one likes this one. Okay, again, I didn't write these. I really need to emphasize that. Okay, joke number 3. Why did the LinkedIn user buy premium on Valentine's Day? Because she wanted to unlock exclusive features to find her perfect match. Okay, so what do we have for this one? Okay, so number 3. Oh, Bob, thank you for saying which one we're talking about. I hadn't thought about that. Okay, so we have a 1, a 4, a 6, okay, an 8. Remove endorsement, and my score would be, okay, got it. Okay. All right. So it looks like joke number 1 is making it to the finals. So I'm just going to put this in the finals. Okay? Just a second. You can tell I put some time into this, just to let you know. Okay. All right, so we have that. Okay, so enough of that. We're going to go back now to people's profiles. Thank you guys for humoring me with that, even though some of these were not very humorous. Okay. The next person's profile we're going to go to is, he goes by Ali, and because he's emailed me and he had a pronunciation key, so that was really good. Okay, so let's see. Okay, Bob says, yeah, number 1 is funny. Yes, number 1 is it's funny. I think I liked the premium one, but again, this is why we do voting. Okay, so for Ali, again, we're going through different parts of people's profiles. We're going to start with the about section, but you can tell just from at a glance, he's a data science guy, okay? And he's also an intern at Flame University. So you could tell that at least that's what's going on. So let's go down to the about section. And now, one thing I learned fairly recently, and I want to credit Janet Falk. It's Falk. Feel free to connect with her on LinkedIn. She posts really good stuff about media relations and PR and networking and LinkedIn. But she had shared that 52% of, when someone's on your profile, on average, 52% of the time is going to be spent in your about section. So you want the about section to be spot on. And I have to tell you, you still need to lure people in. You still have to get people to read that about section. So they do spend 52% of their time there. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. And Wendy, First Time Buyers Club says, number 1 is by far the least worst, GBT. Yes, I agree. Okay. So let's look at the beginning of Ali's. Now, I do agree that there should be, I do like having your contact information in the about section for those people who want to be contacted, and even by people who might not be connected to them and might not see all their contact information in the contact information section. So I do agree with that, but leading with it, I think, is a waste of lines because we want to draw people in and see what he's about. And right now we don't see that much. Sorry, I'm like looking at my paper notes here. So when I am coaching someone who they're spiffing up their LinkedIn profile, and let's say they are trying to gain new clients, okay, which is the majority of the people that I work with. The formula I like to work with, and obviously it's a guideline, okay, is to start your about section with a hook, and it could be identifying the potential customer's pain, okay, and then saying, okay, and I am the person who can fix that, okay, and then talking about, and then also just sharing, beefing that up a little bit more, putting in some keywords, because you do want keywords so that it makes the LinkedIn algorithm happy. It helps you show up in more searches, and then follow with your contact information and then an icebreaker. I want to actually show you my profile just to show you how I've done it on my about section. So that way there's a little bit more meaning with Ali's. Now, Ali is different because he is on a job search or, looking for the next opportunity. But I just want to share this because I know there are a lot of people watching this who are doing more of are trying to grow their client base. Okay, so let me go to the about section. Okay, so you see I have the pain point here. Most businesses struggle to create a LinkedIn presence they can be proud of. And then, so that's the pain point, okay? And then if you're looking for 100% personalized training and strategy, I'll help you do that, blah, blah, blah. So I try to get this in the first 3 lines. So whatever your message you're trying to give people, and for Alice, it's going to be different. We're going to brainstorm that or talk about that. But this is not, this is what you want to get at. And when I click on see more, I go more into it. You see I have a call to action here. And by the way, one thing I am going to point out with Ali's is that when you give your contact information or a scheduling link, you want to beef it up with some words to encourage people to do that. So for example, it's like, are you curious to learn more? Schedule a discovery call with me. I have that before I have the Calendly link. Or I say, or reach out to me. We'll see if my services are a good fit for you and your business. So again, I'm just trying to say, come on guys, contact me. I love LinkedIn, but I'm not on it for my health, You see that I have my keywords here. Okay. And then this icebreaker section is brand new. I've been seeing more people do this. It's still kind of rare, but I'm seeing more people do this on their LinkedIn profiles. So I decided to do it on mine. And that is basically a way to humanize your about section. So it's like things to kind of people's interest. So it's not like, okay, this is just another business call I'm making, or, it's like, oh, this person has some interesting interests. I think I'm going to ask about the learning foreign languages or something of that nature. So anyway, that's what's there. So you just have an idea of the template. And so let's go back to Ali's here. Now I'm going to click on see more. And here's the most important part right here that I'm highlighting. So basically, he, and actually I would probably rephrase it a little bit. I did write, I'd probably even make it more human, but just a second. Next page of the Gen Xers printout. Okay, so you could say something more like, I'm a passionate data scientist with a strong foundation in analytical and quantitative skills. I'm actively seeking opportunities in data science, machine learning, and computer vision domains. So it might be a slightly more human way of saying it, but I would have led with that, not with the hi, nice to meet you. Although it is very approachable, but you can still have a very approachable style, but get to the point a lot more quickly. Okay. Let's see what we have here. Of course, my pharmacy's calling me exactly this time. That's great. Okay. Let's see, what other notes did I have here? And then obviously, mention that you're pursuing your master's degree. That's still going to be something that's going to be higher up. Now, one thing I also, because I'm constantly researching LinkedIn stuff like all the time. One tip I came across recently that I loved is, and this is be more relevant if you're searching for a job. If you're like, well, what keywords exactly should I be talking about in my profile? What you do is this. You go into the job section of LinkedIn, okay? And you look for, let's say, the top 20 jobs you would love to have or are closest to what you would love to have. and you copy and paste the descriptions of those jobs into a Word document or whatever, program you use, okay? Now, once you have those 20 descriptions all together in one place, copy the whole thing and then paste it into a free word cloud generator. Like, those word clouds where they have like some words big and the bigger words are shown more than the smaller words. So put in there, and if you just Google free word cloud generator, there are a million that come up. So you could just use one of those, and then you'll be able to see the words that most employers are thinking of when they're looking for a particular candidate, so to fill a position. So that can help you get in your potential employers' brains by having a visual representation of their language. So anyway, just something that you can do there. And also, I would say with the work that you've done or the projects you've done, Ali, if you have any metrics or numbers that you can put behind your successes, this would be a great place to put it there too, because again, this is the main place that people are looking at. And like I said before, you have your portfolio right here. I would say, I invite you to check out my portfolio of work, et cetera, or I'm not exactly a math. I don't even know if it's pronounced GitHub or GitHub. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But anyway, encourage people to go ahead there and the value that they'll get from checking that out, as well as any additional contact information. You don't want to get people stuck there when really you want them to email you, as an example. And then I would go ahead and put that email information down at the bottom. And then I don't know what you guys think of doing an icebreaker, having a list of icebreakers for someone who is looking for a job. I feel comfortable as a business owner putting in my about section. I've been kind of back and forth with doing it for recommending it with someone who is looking for a job. So if you guys have any opinions on that, I would appreciate that. And while you guys are thinking about that, I'm going to look at Mr. Badless Chumley. Gave some more description of what he is looking for the featured section. RE featured offers ranging from newsletter promo merch items to courses, consult, medium offer to hands-on engagement, high offer. Yes. Thank you for asking that. And as a matter of fact, having your different offers would be is actually one thing I'm going to be talking about in the featured section. And I would probably start with the lowest offer, because sometimes it's better to start with the lowest hanging fruit. At least that's my opinion of it. So anyway, that and I will show an example of someone who does this. Not necessarily from low, medium to high, but does show the three main services or products that he offers, and actually displays them beautifully as three separate color-coded items in the featured section. That is definitely something that if you are growing, you want to grow your business and you just want an obvious area for that, the featured section is a great place. So thank you for asking that. Okay, and let's see. Oh, Monkey is Ali. Sorry about that. I keep on forgetting what people's YouTube names are. I'm so sorry. Okay, so thank you very much. I've taken notes and working on it. Yes, this will improve the About section. It's been a little tough to curate as well. And then you like the word cloud idea. So awesome. I'm glad that was helpful to you. Okay. We're actually, I apologize. We actually are talking about the featured section next. Now, generally, we're doing this profile in order. The reason I wanted to do the featured section afterwards is because, so actually, Stupendous, your question came at the perfect time. Sometime in March, so next month, for those of you who are watching right now, LinkedIn is going to be changing the order of how things appear on people's profiles, and the About section is going to be above the featured section, even if you're in creator mode. And actually, everyone's going to be in creator mode, but the About section will be higher. So that's why I wanted to talk about the About section before going to featured. But featured would probably, I imagine featured is going to be the next thing. After that, we'll find out in March exactly the order, but I'm glad the About section is going to go higher for those of us in creator mode. Okay, so first of all, I do like the fact that Ali is using the featured section because it is an underutilized area. Ali, what I don't know is, are these your strongest pieces? I'm not saying they're not strong. I don't know enough about data science to know, without having an in-depth consultation, private consultation with you, to know, what is going to be the most important for your audience. But if these are your strongest pieces and these are the things that your audience would want to see most, then definitely put that here. Other ideas. Oh, and by the way, you want to update your featured section, or at least check it out or review it about twice a year. I do that about twice a year, and what I find is I'm like, really? I have something way better now to show, and I change the order of things, or I get rid of a piece and then add another piece, because we're constantly building up good stuff that we can show people. And it's often better than what we had several months ago. So just be sure to update that on a regular basis, because I do. Some other ideas for you, Ali, would be, for example, a thought leadership. Could be, if you have a thought leadership piece, if you have case studies on a work that you've done that you can share information without, giving away the farm or naming names if that's needed. You can also start a newsletter. So for example, let me show you on my featured section. So mine is LinkedIn for Small Biz. Okay. And actually that's my first thing in the featured section, because I want more people to subscribe to this. Obviously I'm subscribed to my own, of course. And then I have links to some videos that I've done. And I wanted to show the top two that I thought were the best ones that represent my work. So anyway, so you could always do something like that as well. And basically, because some people have questions about the... Oh, Stupendous says, thanks, very helpful live. Okay, Sean Fraser, so I can call you Sean. Thank you. I mean, I can call you Stupendous. I mean, I think that's very complimentary, but I'll call you Sean too. I'll call you Sean instead, or in addition. Stupendous Sean, we could do that too. Whatever you want. So, what was I going to say? Oh, I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. Little side note here, because I do get questions about this. If you're going to do a newsletter, if you don't have a newsletter already, think of a newsletter as the blog section of your website. And then all the blog articles on your website that are housed under your blog of your website, those are your LinkedIn articles. So if you were ever, so let me actually click on home here. So if you ever just like click on write an article, you can go ahead and, I don't want to do the whole thing here, and actually I have to minimize things, but basically you can say, okay, I want an article going out as me, and it will go under that newsletter. That's probably the best way to describe it, just really, really quickly. Okay, and in terms of to Stupendous Sean's, I think that's a good name for you. But if you don't like it, I won't do it. This is your name. I want to be respectful. But anyway, if you want to do where you show the low, medium, high in terms of business offerings, John Asperian does an amazing job of this. Okay, so let me go to his. So look, he has an espresso community. He also does consults, and he has a book. So these are like the three things. I wouldn't necessarily say it's necessarily in the order of. Well, I think the espresso community is probably the. Actually, I don't know the pricing of everything. Consultation might be the highest price product that he has, but I like how he color coded it. I think that's really fantastic. So this is something you can people can do as well. Again, especially if you're in LinkedIn more for business development. Okay. All right. Let's see. Do I have anything? Yes. And then for Ali, the last thing I want to go over with Ali before we go to ChatGPT one-liners is let's go over his skills section. I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I had to pick and choose which sections we're going to do here. So come on, skills. Okay. So LinkedIn used to have a limit of 50 skills that we can add, and semi-recent-ish, I forget exactly when it was, or don't know exactly when it was, but now you can actually add up to 100 skills. But I want to let you know, even 50 skills is too much. All you want to do are put the skills that are most important for people to think of you if they want to hire you, either, as an employee or a vendor or whatever it is. So Ali, I'm wondering if data science should be your top thing. Again, I don't know, maybe deep learning is, but ask yourself, what are the top 2 things to add here? Because you're more likely to get endorsements on the top 2 skills that are listed, because even on mobile, only the top 2 skills show. It used to be the top 3, now it's the top 2. So the more endorsements you have for a particular skill, the more likely that the higher up you'll show in a LinkedIn search. So we want to put the top skills that will attract more people to endorse you for, so that in the long term you show up in more skills. I hope that kind of makes sense the way I'm describing that. But you still want to look at your other skills as well. And you don't want to put any skills in here that dilute your branding. Okay. So for example, what were some obvious things I saw that I didn't think you I didn't think you necessarily needed. A lot of these are like, Microsoft Excel. Like I don't, obviously you have such strong, more advanced skills that it would be assumed that you're good at Microsoft Excel. Adobe Acrobat, probably same thing. Japanese you don't need here because you already have Japanese listed as one of your languages. And by the way, I am also a hobbyist polyglot like you, but the languages you are learning or know are way harder than the languages I know and I'm learning. So I bow to you. I just want to let you know, like, that's amazing. I would never learn Japanese. I think I wouldn't do well. And then things like youth development, people management, it's going to be, youth development may be irrelevant right now. And then also for people management, it's probably, there are certain things that are going to be assumed. So get rid of things that are assumed or just get in the way. You only want to put the skills that you want to be endorsed for, and then put the top 2 that you want people to notice you more for, so that way you show up. I hope that makes sense. Okay. And Joanne says, I saw an interview on TV with someone from LinkedIn who said that the average number of skills on a profile is 37. That is super interesting. It is too many. It really is. Like, it's just better to have fewer, so that, because you don't want to dilute your endorsements. You don't want people endorsing you for something you don't really need an endorsement for. You only want to have it for the skills you want. So you don't want to dilute things. But that's an interesting statistic. I did not know that. So thank you, Joanne. I'm going to keep that in my back pocket to just throw out there when I'm talking. It's like, oh, Brooke, you know so much. It's like, well, I got it from Joanne. So, that's what that is. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we're ready for some ChatGPT one-liners. These I found funny. Was it the one-liners? Yeah, I think it's the one-liners that are next. Okay, let's do this. No. Oh, sorry, not the one-liners. Excuse me. Pickup lines. We're going to do pickup lines next. Okay, and again, when I say these pickup lines, I just want to let you know I'm a happily married woman. I am just saying this as a funny pickup line, but don't internalize it. Okay. Pickup line number 1. Okay. Ali, we'll get to your question in just a second. I apologize. So pickup line number 1. Okay. Roses are red. LinkedIn is blue. Let's network together. Just me and you. Give me a number. 1 is the worst. 1 is, this is really bad. This is stupid. Number 10 is, oh, that's amazing. Or anything in between. And let's see what you guys think of that. Okay, Bob gives it a 5. I'll wait a little bit. I'll wait a little more. Just a few more seconds. Joanne gives it a 9. Cool. Let's see. Okay. And Ali gives it a 7. Okay, awesome. So the average is, I'm going to stop with that. So the average is 7 because I can do math. The average is 7 for the first one. Okay, now we're going to do, oh, actually, no, Wendy gives it a 5. So, okay, so it's a little less than that. Okay, so now my math starts going down. I'll call it a 6.5. Okay, all right, let's do pickup line number 2. Okay, so now we're doing number 2. Do not vote for number 1 anymore. Okay, pickup line number 2. Are you a LinkedIn ad? Because you got me clicking and converting with every interaction. What are your votes for that one? Besides, it sounds sleazy. Okay, so that's number 1. I'm making notes here. Number 2. So again, you're okay. So Bob gives it an 8. Monkey gives it a 10. I'm sorry, Ali. I'm sorry. I see Monkey. I apologize. A 2, a 5, and a 2. Oh gosh, now I have to do math here. So we have 18, 20, 27. 27 divided by 5. So it's like 5 point something. 5 point something. Okay, so still number 1 is better. Okay, so now we're going to do, so no more voting for pickup line number 2. We're going to do the last pickup line, and then we're going to do pickup line number 3. And I have to remember that Ali has a question, like an actual LinkedIn question after this. Bruce gave it a 6. Okay, but here's pickup line number 3. We're now doing voting for number 3. If love were a skill on LinkedIn, you'd have the highest endorsements. Okay. Okay, so voting for number 3 now. I feel like doing the Jeopardy theme song. I once tried out for Jeopardy, but clearly I didn't get in. Let's see. So we have an 8, a 6, a 4, an 8. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to give it one more. Joanne gives a 9. Okay, I'm going to wait 2 more seconds, and then I'm going to call it. And I think this might have beaten the first one. Okay, so we have 14, 18, 26, 35. So this is an average of 7. So number 3, oh, actually, and Bruce, okay. So actually, yeah, number 3 won. So number 3 makes it to the finals. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in. Sorry. Sorry about that. There we go. Oh, wow, I have different font sizes. Good job, Brooke. Different font sizes. Okay. All right. Let me go back now to, we're going to go back to LinkedIn now and actually answer a LinkedIn question. Let's see. There we go. So Ali asked, this is a little before we did the voting. Okay, we'll filter the irrelevant skills. Query, would adding more skills help get more chances of job searching in the LinkedIn job portal? Ooh, that's a good question. You know what? It could help, but the one thing is that just put in the most important skills. That's probably the best thing I can offer to you. You ask a really good question, but all advice that I've been seeing has been limited to the most relevant ones, because in the end, it's actually the number of endorsements you get for a skill is what gives the skill weight. So the way to get more endorsements is to have fewer to choose from. So that way, it's doing the math. And obviously, Ali, your math is better than my math, but hopefully that kind of makes sense. So that was a really, really good question. So thank you. Oh, okay. So Bob says going mobile, watching, but unable to chat. Cheers. Okay, no problem. Well, I appreciate the fact that you're watching. So thank you. That means Bob has been a supporter of this channel since like pretty much the very beginning. And I'm very thankful for you, Bob. So thank you. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so now we're going to go to the experience section, and we're going to go to Keyshawn Beckett Edwards, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I don't know if it's Keyshawn or Keyshawn. So, but this is where we are, and he is a student. Let's go to the experience section. I actually have a lot to share here. Okay, so let me tell you what's going well with his experience section, and then there are numerous things that can be fixed as well. So first of all, the fact that he wrote things in the first person is really, really good. In other words, me, myself, and I would say about 95% of LinkedIn experts, advisors, gurus, or whatever, will strongly urge you to write in the first person, and I am in that camp. The reason being that who talks about themselves in the third person? If you want to create a wall between you and your audience and make it sound like I'm better than you, write in the third person. But it doesn't mean that you're a narcissist or anything like that, but it can come across that way. We don't want that impression. So basically first person, I really strongly believe that is the best way to go, and most people will agree with me on that. Okay. So Kishan does that really, really well. And also he speaks conversationally. So he just has a natural tone of voice. And again, whether you are looking to grow your business on LinkedIn or you're looking for your next job, when you give your resume, that is all the formal stuff. It's very formal. LinkedIn is the place where people can hear your voice and get to know you better, and it's supposed to complement your resume. And what Kishan is doing here is he is having something that will complement that, or just humanize things. So I think his tone is really, really good. So that's fantastic. And the other thing I want to say, actually the two other things that are going really well, the fact that he has things filled out. For example, when we were looking at Savannah's profile, she had the job listings, but she didn't have any descriptions. So it's very helpful to put that. Kishan here does have the descriptions. So that's good. I feel like I'm repeating myself. I apologize. The other thing, and this may sound really small, but it's one of those things where you want things to be just right. Otherwise, again, people might get some subconscious messages, is Kishan is very consistent with how he shows everything. Okay. So for example, every single location, he has, the town name, he has, the town, England, United Kingdom, town, in this case, London, England, United Kingdom. What I see a lot of people do is they write their locations a little bit differently. Like, for example, let's say I had 2 jobs in Wilmington, Delaware, and one of them I have Delaware spelled out. I say Wilmington, Delaware spelled out. And then another job description, I say Wilmington, DE. Okay. You just want everything noted exactly the same. A little thing that, again, you don't want to send a message that you don't pay attention to details. Even if details are not a strong suit, you want to double check that. Okay. And then also he does also show, like, this was a part-time, this was an internship, this was an internship. So again, he notes everything exactly the same, and that's really, really good. And Kishan he actually asked me a question about how he should be noting things as part-time or internship, and everything looks fine to me with that. So that is really good. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and just going back, Ali says, I understood, appreciate your help here. So thank you. Okay. Here are the things that Kishan can, and I'm so sorry, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. I'm so sorry. Okay. Here are the things that he can make better. The first one, and I did notice this not only in the experience section, but a little later on in the volunteer section that we're going to go to, it's wordy. Okay. So for example, let's look at right at this top right here for the disability officer. It says the main responsibilities I carry out as disability officer are making sure students, we already know he's a disability officer. We already know you're going to talk about your responsibilities here. You could just say, instead of saying the main responsibilities I carry out as disability officer are making sure students, you could just say, I make sure students with disabilities. You could just start with I make sure students and get rid of the rest. Okay. Actually, I'm just going to, let me show you another example under volunteering. As a volunteer, I gained experience in working with children in a stimulating setting. You can instead make that into, what did I say here? But basically, I create a stimulating setting where children can play and engage with volunteers. Okay, so again, just be careful of that because, again, people are in scrolly mode and you just need to get to the point as quickly as possible. When you're writing anything, ask yourself, do I need that word? Do I need that phrase? Is this self-explanatory? And I've had to train myself to do that over the years, and I will tell you it's helped me immensely. And I still catch myself being wordy at times, but it's very helpful to go back and look at your work and see what you have. Okay, so the other thing I would recommend is to break things up into smaller sentences. Like, for example, here, Kishan, like, this is all one sentence. That's a lot. You could always just say, you could always have things as bullet points. You could do it that way. But just make things more readable. That will help you. I'd also make things more tangible. Okay. So, for example, you say, I make sure students with disabilities feel safe around the college. What sort of things are you doing? Like, what are you working on right now, or what have you done to make them feel more comfortable? You discuss ways to improve the college for students with disabilities, but like, again, what are the actual things you're doing? So that way people can imagine more rather than kind of guess. That will help make you even more marketable. If there are, and as long as it's not proprietary information, you can share it. I will tell you, you never want to share proprietary information in on LinkedIn. You know how I mentioned before, like, share numbers, share statistics, and, share metrics. That's great as long as it's not secret information. So anything you can share that someone will not get mad at you for sharing, do that. Okay. Let's see, what else do I have here? Past job experiences, when possible, show how you're qualified. Oh, okay. The internship things was, wow, Brooke, you're doing a great job speaking. Okay. So here's what you have. You're basically, again, this is quite wordy right here, but then you said, I wanted to gain support and understand more about the opportunities they offer. So, okay, that was a 1 month thing, but was there anything you did? Was there anything you contributed? You want to put how you contributed, not like, this is, you don't want to say, well, this is what I was hoping to learn for myself. Say, this is what I did to help others, because ultimately people are looking at this and they're trying to figure out what's in it for them. Okay, so that's what you want to focus on. Same thing, especially with this internship here. A lot of the words are the same. It's like, you wanted to understand more about things. You want to understand what they had to offer. You had an internship with them for what, 9 months ish. So in those 9 months, what did you do? I'm sure you did plenty of things. So that's what you want to share. And then also there was a little grammatical thing. This looks like an incomplete sentence. So I can broaden my knowledge about Microsoft and the information technology industry. So incomplete sentences are fine if it's for stylistic purposes. I don't think this was meant that way. So just make that a complete sentence. What else? Okay. Oh, and then in the retail section, be careful of your wording here. You basically said, some of the duties you had. One of them was dealing with customer inquiries. I don't know if that in British English is an okay way to say it. The way it comes across to me in my American ears is, I dealt with it. Like, So it would be better to say, like, handled customer inquiries, or, basically answered customers' questions to make sure they had the best possible outcomes, something like that. But dealing is kind of like, there's a little bit of a negative undertone to it. At least that's how it sounds to me. So just think about that. A few other quick things. So just scrolling down here, we have, first of all, the education section. He has it filled out. That's very good. I think I don't have any qualms about anything in the education section. I thought that's totally fine. I was a little bit confused though, because I thought you're currently a student. It says it in your headline that you're a student at, but here it looks like you would have already completed it, and you completed in September 2022. So I was confused about that. The volunteer section, be careful of the tenses you're using. Okay, you gained experience here, so that sounds like a past tense, but then you say I oversee. So make sure everything's in the right tense. I will also say I would say about 40% of the time, 50% of the time, when I look at someone's profile, if they have a past volunteer experience or past job experience, they still have it written in the present tense. They never changed it to past tense. So just anyone watching, just double check your profile and make sure that you have changed present tense to past tense for any job that has become a past job, since you started your profile. Just a little thing there. And also with projects, I'm really glad that Keyshawn has filled this out. Okay, let's see. Because projects is an underutilized area, and you have different ideas of things you can do. So, for example, we were talking about the featured section before. Maybe you want to show projects up there, and maybe some of the overflow can go in projects down here. And the reason I put overflow with projects in projects is because it's way further down in your profile, and more people are going to see the featured section than they will the projects. So. But I'm glad that he is using this section. So that is really, really good. Again, be careful of your wording. It says, this project aims to pitch. Did you try to pitch something or did you pitch it? If you did pitch it, just say, my team and I pitched an innovative idea, not that we tried to. It's very similar to the word decide. Well, it reminds me of the word decide. Like if you ever have in your writing anywhere, it said, so I decided to do this, rather than just saying, I did this. Because if you did something, it's understood that you decided to do it. So little slight tangent, but I the word decide is a pet peeve of mine. And I wanted to share that to you on Valentine's Day. So, okay. Let's see. Also, I do see this a lot with people's writing. And I have to remind myself of this too. If I ever complain about something, I've struggled with it too. I just want to let you know, I get it. I get it. So you have 3 bullet points, and that's totally fine, but they're not in parallel construction. So you have widening here and driving here. That's all good. That's fantastic. So you should have a something-ing economic impact, something-ing the rise of esports, or however you want to say it. But everything in a bullet list, and it doesn't, not just with your LinkedIn profile, but anything, you should, either start everything with a verb, start everything with a noun, start everything with an, whatever it is, just start everything the same way in a bulleted list. So I was actually really proud of my son. He was trying to, he went to communicate like a kind of a tough thing, and he to me, my husband, and he decided to just write it out to us, and he used bullet points, which first of all, I even regardless of the message he said, he used bullet points. I thought that was awesome. And then also he used parallel construction. So it's like I felt like I just had to say yes to no matter what it was. That's me. Okay. All right. The other thing about this is wait. Oh, okay. When I looked at the media here, okay, because you can add media, it just has an image. So I didn't know if there was more you can share. Like, do you have, I don't know, a slideshow, a presentation you can show? Because there's lots of different media you can show besides just a single image. So anything you could do there just to kind of beef it up for people to view, that would be great. But if all you could do is the image, that's totally fine. I just wanted to make sure you knew your options. Okay. Before we get to the last part of the last parts of a profile, we are going to do now one-liners. And I will actually, I wasn't planning on this, but I'm going to share something about one-liners that, let's see, okay, that most people don't know about me. When I was, I'm already showing the one-liner. Okay, well, let me just talk about this, then we'll actually vote on the one-liner. So when I was like in my mid-20s, I was actually incredibly shy. And I'm still an introvert, but I was watching stand-up comedy, and I'm like, I think I could do that, not realizing how hard it was. So I actually took an 8-week stand-up comedy class, and our graduation was we had to do a stand-up comedy gig. And so I didn't do one-liners. I did things that were a little bit more descriptive. I only did 3 stand-up comedy gigs. And again, each one was only 5 minutes. The first one, I nailed it. People were got it. And then the second one, I bombed. People were just staring at me. And then the third one is a mixed result. And I'm like, I can't do this. And it wasn't important enough for me to continue to even get better. So anyway, just a little side note. Okay, so let's do the one-liners. Okay, so imagine this almost reminds me of Rodney Dangerfield or something like that, the late Rodney Dangerfield. But okay, so imagine a stand-up comedian is saying this sort of stuff. So one-liner number 1. So vote 1 to 10. 1 is the worst. 10 is awesome. Okay, okay. I sent my crush a LinkedIn connection request on Valentine's Day. It's pending, apparently just like his feelings. Again, I sent my crush a LinkedIn connection request on Valentine's Day. It's pending, apparently just like his feelings. Okay, Wendy gives it a 9. Bob, I know you can't vote, but that's okay. I'll wait a few more seconds. By the way, I'm holding my phone in my hand right now. That's why I'm like looking down. Okay. All right. So we have, okay, so that's a 15. So it's an average of a 7.5. Oh, wait, 8. Okay. Now now I have to do this. Okay. Okay, Joanne, you're the last one in. So let's see. So we have 14, 9. That's a 23 divided by 3. That's almost an 8. Okay, we'll go with almost an 8. That's Brooke's math. Okay. One-liner number 2. My love life is like a LinkedIn post. Lots of views, but not enough engagement. My love life is like a LinkedIn post. Lots of views, but not enough engagement. I have to personally tell you I love this one, but I don't want to sway your opinion of it. But this was like literally my dating life before I met my husband. It was a very, very sad time in my life. Okay. I think there's actually a delay going on, which is why. Okay, so Joanne gives it an 8. 8. Ali gives it a 9. Wendy gives it a 10. Okay. Wait a few more seconds. Actually, this would be good if I ended here, and this voting for number 2 here, because I can do the math and the average is 9. Okay, average is 9. This one is really good. Okay, and then we're going to do number 3. Okay, number 3. Valentine's Day is like LinkedIn. It's all about showcasing your best self, but deep down, there's a lot more going on behind the profile picture. Actually, this is really depressing, but maybe you guys like it better than I do. I think I was actually struggling to find a not horrible third one-liner. I think that's why I put this one in. Okay, so again, Valentine's Day is like LinkedIn. It's all about showcasing your best self, but deep down, there's a lot more going on behind the profile picture. Okay, Bruce gives it a 4. Wendy, a 3. I don't see this one winning at all. People are giving this very low scores. Okay, Ali gives it a 5. Okay, so, all right, we're going to just call that a 4. So we have, and Joanne gives it a 5 actually here, but that's still, there's no way for number 3 to catch up. So actually, number 2 is the final one to make it to the finals, okay? And we're going to be voting on these, actually, just a second. Not quite yet. I want to go through the rest of the profile. We have one more set of audits to do, and then we will actually vote on that. So let's see. Okay. So we have that. Thank you guys, by the way, for voting. I really appreciate the participation. And if there's more like this sort of thing you want to see or other ways that you want to engage, like let me know, because I really want to I want to make it fun. Also, if you hear a train, it's because there is a train that literally goes through my backyard and I can't help that. Okay, so the last bits of Captain Kirk gave that a 9. Okay. The last bits of a profile, we're going to go through Moon's profile. And first of all, it's pretty clear that he's a web developer. You can see he just has a few words right here, so that's pretty good. And you can see web development here. So that is pretty clear. But let's go down. Oh, yeah. Let's go down. Okay, to licenses and certifications. So first of all, I want to give Moon a kudos here because he did fill out a lot of sections that a lot of people would skip over. Okay, so that part is really, really good. So again, the fact that he has credentials in web development is super good. You want to be careful of the description, however. So, it says you're passionate about programming, you earn the certification amid a demanding job and household responsibilities. That is not nearly as, it's impressive, but it's not nearly as important as, like, here are the things I learned that would convince you to hire me. So, what are the specific skills? What are the things you learned that, whether it's, designing a website for to attract more customers, or how to make a website more navigable, or how to make it run faster, or how to make the best mobile friendly websites. Again, I'm not a web developer, but you want to share the things that potential customers would be looking for. So that's what you want in the description there. We already talked about projects with Kishan, and we already talked about skills. Recommendations. First of all, Moon has a recommendation this month, this year. Most of us don't have it. There are a lot of profiles out there that the most recent recommendation was from 2012. Okay, so now, and I'm going to give so what I do recommend in general is try to get 1 or 2 recommendations a year. If you don't have any, or you don't have any recent, try to get one now. Okay, and it needs to be someone that you are connected to, so it does need to. And they would just go to your profile. There are different ways to recommend people. If I want to recommend Moon, I would just click on recommend Moon and then go through the, and they'll say, oh, how do you know him? And, what do you want to say? You just follow the prompts. It's pretty straightforward. And then Moon would be able to review that recommendation before putting it on. It's not like a Google review where someone could just go on and put a review, whether you know about it or not, whether it's good or not. You get to review things from your peers and clients, or whoever's giving you a recommendation, before you decide to put it on, and you can toggle things on and off. So the fact that he has one is really, really good. Now, that said, okay, and let me tell you a mistake that I made until an SEO guy was like, Brooke, you got to stop doing this. I was going nuts with LinkedIn recommendations. I was getting quite a few, and that's awesome, and I feel blessed about that. The problem is I wasn't getting what I should have been doing is directing more people to do a Google review, because in the end, it's going to help me show up higher in searches, and it just helps build more confidence, and more people are going to find me in a Google search than necessarily a LinkedIn search. So what I do now is I make sure that I have, at least one current-ish, I don't have a recommendation that's more than a year old, basically, on LinkedIn. As long as I have one that's relatively fresh, I go, when I'm talking with a client and they're happy with what I'm doing, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. And I say, oh, by the way, would you be willing to do a Google review? And I give them the Google review link. When I looked up Moon on Google, I actually show you just a second. I'm sorry. Web developer. You can see I already looked it up. So you see how it's blank right here on the side? That suggests to me, and again, I'm not a Google, business profile expert here. I'm just telling you, just from being surrounded by marketing people in my industry all the time. If you don't see something here, it's because you don't have a Google profile, a business profile. So you want to build one so that people can give reviews. So I would do that. That is actually more of a priority. Make sure you have at least one current one on your LinkedIn, but other than that, direct everyone else to giving a review, basically. So let me actually just show you what that would look like. So you see, I have a profile here. I have my Google business profile, so that's why people are able to give reviews. And I've been trying to direct more people there whenever possible. Okay. So we have that. Okay, let's go back here. All right. The other thing I just want to say, and no one ever really talks about it, the fact that he's given a recommendation or and it's really helpful to see that, and by that, you're not just trying to get recommendations, you're giving them as well. And it's not the same person you gave a recommendation to who gave one. So it's not like you're trying to scratch each other's backs. So And you gave a very thoughtful recommendation. So we never talk about that enough in terms of give other people recommendations, and not necessarily because you want one back, although it'd be nice. But anyway, I just wanted to give you kudos for that. In your publication section, when I looked at both of these, let me actually click on the video editing one right here. They all went to YouTube, okay? So I think that these would be better, your publications would actually be better under projects. When I think of publications, it's more of a written piece. At least that's how I've been understanding it. If I am wrong with that, or if you have a different opinion of that, let me know. But I would recommend putting Logic Creations was the same thing. It went to YouTube. I would put that under projects, or yeah. Okay, and then obviously you have the languages here. Keep in mind too that you can also put your level of proficiency if you want when you list languages. And then you have causes. And for interests, I want to mention something here. I want to point out groups. So let's see. So Moon is a member of, I was like looking at this before, of obviously multiple groups here, which is good. What I really recommend is, I don't think I saw this. Also join groups where your potential clients are. And it could be, business owners, it could be marketers in general who would hire web developers, that type of thing. And it's not like you're trying to self-promote, but here's the main reason you want to do this. As you know, if you don't have LinkedIn Premium, you have a huge limit on the people you can send a personal message to when you try to connect with them. Some people just have a limit of 5 per month. Others have 10. I unfortunately just have 5. I don't know why I just have 5. I thought I would have 10 because I'm really active on LinkedIn. So I'm not super happy with that. But the more groups you're a part of, the more likely when you see someone's profile and you want to connect with them, you could always message them in groups. Okay, because anyone that you are connected, that you are part of the same group of, you can send a message to that person for free. It's not, and it could be, it could be personalized. So you could always send a message there and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. By the way, I'm going to be sending you a connection request. So you got your personalized message in without accounting towards your 5 or 10 in your quota. So that's a good reason to use groups. So try to build up the groups that way. That was the main thing I wanted to share. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to do 3 things. The first thing we're going to do, to wrap things up, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to vote on the top, the least worst of ChatGPT, okay? So, oh wait, I didn't want to make this a larger font. That's confusing. Okay, I want to have everyone have like the same chance. Okay, so I want you to vote for, oh, Scott says, nice tip. You're welcome. Oh, thank you, and you're welcome. Okay, so I want you to vote on which is the best one as our grand winner for today's live stream. Is it the joke? What did the LinkedIn, which is number 1? What did the LinkedIn user say to his date? I hope our connection turns into a lifelong endorsement. Is it number 2? If love were a skill in LinkedIn, you'd have the highest endorsements. Or is it number 3? My love life is like a LinkedIn post, lots of views, but not enough engagement. So just write 1, 2, or 3. I'll take a few moments for that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when I talk, there's like a 10 to 15 second delay. So, because the votes don't usually show up till a little later. And then for 10 to 15 seconds, I get very self-conscious. And by the way, it's not like I have a prize for the winner. Okay, so we have 3, 2. Okay, so Wendy says 3, so we have 1, 2, 3. So we have 2 votes for 2. We have 1 for 3. Any more? Scott says 2. Okay, just a few more seconds. Okay, it looks like number 2, if love were a skill in LinkedIn, you'd have the highest endorsements, is the winner. Okay, so I'll put like a little heart here. That's all I can do. Again, I'm not a romantic. So yay, that's the winner there. Okay, so that was the first thing I wanted to mention. The second thing is, obviously, I want to thank everyone for participating. The next live stream is going to be in May-ish sometime is what I'm looking at. And but I do want to also let you know that if you want your profile audited, again, I'll do a section of it, but it's a good way to get some exposure, but then also while also getting some help as well. Just email me. And again, this is so, there's my email address. Okay, info@deshoutout.com. So if you want to be featured in the next, be one of the audits in the next live stream, just email me, share your profile, put the link to your profile, your URL, and I'll be more than happy to include you in that. But I'm trying to do a live stream about once a quarter-ish. And I think that's about it. So anyway, I am just like, thank you so much again, everyone, for coming. It means a lot to me. I hope that this has been valuable to you as well. And so let's see. And Wendy says, thanks for your amazing tips. I got a list of changes to make. And Bruce just, voted. So final 2. Well, good. Because, number 2 was the winner there. And I think that's about it. So anyway, thank you guys for joining. And I look forward to seeing you the next time. Have a great Valentine's Day. Take care.